and welcome to this episode of Find Out What's in Polenta's Forest. So grab yourself a glass of water or a cup of tea and spend the next few minutes with me. And like I always tell you, don't believe everything you hear and check your facts, do your own research. What that means is, don't believe everything I say. Look it up for yourself, because I might be lying to you. Ha! Don't you want to know what my butterflies are saying? I think you do. Don't you want to know what my butterflies are talking? This is Find Out What's in Polenta's Forest. It's Halloween this month. Are you ready to go trick-or-treating? And if you go trick-or-treating, are you going to take a person with you? Or are you going to take a gadget? Now, I'm not talking about Inspector Gadget. I am talking about your life-size toy. Yeah. Put away the C batteries. Put away your little pocket hooda-hada-hada, because people are falling in love with robots. Literally falling in love. Okay? I found a couple of articles here that are super crazy. I've been hearing a lot about it on the news. Not the news that y'all are probably watching. I mean my crazy news. People are just going bananas. And I just got to ask you, are we so lonely now and so disgusted with our human neighbors, co-workers, family members, friends, just people that you associate with on the street? Are we so disgusted now that we actually have to turn to machines and program them to give us the love and respect that we're not getting from real people? That looks like the road that we're going down, and it's pretty sad. Okay? Now, here, let me see. People have actually fallen in love with machines. Okay? Over a third of people imagine that human beings one day will be falling in love with robots. Now, let me explain. These are not robots like the Terminator or iRobot. Like, remember Austin Powers, the fembot, the sex bot? I think that was Elizabeth or Hurley or Berkeley, I'm not sure. But people, they're not falling in love with some great big old clunky tin can like in Twilight Zone. Agnes, feed me. No, these are robots that look hot and sexy, okay? Synthetics, the clones, the ones that you can't tell from real life. Well, you know, soldiers have actually refused to leave their war zone robots behind because they actually felt like they were abandoning them. We're talking about a machine, okay? And the virtual world and an engagement party, you know, for a woman and the robot that she's madly in love with. Did you hear me? In the virtual world, we are having an engagement party for a woman who is in love with her robot. All right? So, could your next significant other actually be a robot? I don't know. But most people today find the idea of robot and human love distasteful. But it could be worse than just merely offensive. People are talking about love and sex with robots and all this kind of nonsense. The resistance doesn't have a chance, okay? So I'm going to move on. Oh, but wait a minute. There is a man in Japan, and you can look this up. This is actually a fact. There's a man in Japan who has a life-size android robot that looks similar to his wife. He sleeps with her. He takes her to the beach, has dinner with her, the whole 9 yards. And his reasoning is that Japanese women are very cold and unfeeling. That's what he says. Mind you, this man is married with kids. Okay, look that up. It's I don't know if I should say that it's hilarious or if it's sad, but check this out. I found this online and I want to share it with you. So we know humans are strange creatures. We sleepwalk, we pick our noses, we name our cars. Some of us like black licorice, and some of us are afraid of cotton balls. Now, of all our idiosyncratic tendencies, our attachment to things like blankets, stuffed animals, toys, vehicles, our smartphones. You know, you can't put your phone down for a second. Your phone is like your pacifier. Now, this is particularly common, but it also sheds light on how humans feel about robots and why. Now, in the movie Her, Theodore Twomley falls in love with Samantha, and she's an artificially intelligent operating system. Now, I don't know if you all have seen the movie Ex Machina. It was a really good movie. You got to go check it out. But Caleb falls in love with the sentient robot Ada. Now, both Samantha and Ada are conscious like humans, okay? They experience the world objectively and subjectively. They also express emotions. Now, genuine or not, they express emotions toward their human characters. Now, it's easy to understand why these lonely men fall for them, especially given their sexualized appearance and their Scarlett Johansson husky voice. But these are just movies. Are they just movies? Well, let me tell you, in the real world, robots aren't conscious, okay? However, the jury is still out on whether they ever will be. But, you know, they can't feel anything. No matter how advanced or human-like, robots are compromised of circuits, cameras, and algorithms. They're machines, people. Okay? Now, Isaac Asimov often argues they are tools, not beings. But if that's the case, then what explains our feelings for them? Why are we so attached to these robots? How do our feelings turn from being realistic towards a human to being unrealistic towards a big tin piece of machinery? Okay? The more human-like a robot seems in both appearance and ability, the easier it is for us to project human thoughts and feelings onto them. Now, this effect is even more pronounced in Japan, where followers of Shinto or animism believe that objects have souls. Now, that's something I didn't know, because I didn't read this before I sat here and shared it with you, but I didn't know that was going on in Japan. So I'm going to have to look that up later and maybe do a part 2 here. But anthropomorphizing is a natural human tendency, as our understanding of the world and everything in it is based on our own experiences. Now, did you guys see the movie? Remember Eva Destruction with Gregory Hines, when the robot was mimicked after the actual person, the scientist, and it had her memories and her bad experiences, and that thing was going around ripping the junk right off of men. That robot was crazy. Eva Destruction, that came out maybe in the 80s or so, so go check it out. It's pretty good. But we personify all kinds of objects. You know, we refer to our trusty vehicle as old girl. We feel nagged when our alarm clock screams at us to wake up. And we experience irritation and sympathy as our dated computers limp along struggling to obey our commands. Okay? Now, we do this with robots too. Now, listen at this. MIT researcher Kate Darling conducts experiments in which people play with Pleos. Now, they are small, mechanized dinosaurs, and they're asked to torture these toys. Now, participants often can't bear to do it, and they can't even watch others do it, even though they know that the Pleos can't feel anything. Now, this exercise isn't really about the Pleo at all. It's about the human participants and their feelings. Now, it doesn't matter that their attachment only goes in one direction, because you're not getting love back from the robot. So this is a totally one-sided thing. You know, the more affection someone feels for an object or a robot, the stronger the tendency to anthropomorphize becomes. Okay? Now think back to your favorite childhood toy, perhaps a stuffed animal, you know, your security blanket, just anything that you've become attached to. Now, what happens when someone ripped it apart? What happens? How do you feel? Well, you'd experience some degree of anguish, even though that you know that your stuffed animal can't feel any pain and doesn't even know what's happening. Okay? Now, this is exactly what happens when humans interact with social or interactive robots that narrow the gap between machines and people by making sounds. You see, that's where it gets you. If you have a toy that is talking and acting as if it has emotions, over time, your brain starts to get sucked into that. Kind of like a slow brainwashing. Because see, the Pleos would whimper, and that would contribute to people's horror at their mistreatment, mimicking facial expressions or reacting physically to their surroundings. And if you think only bleeding hearts among us are susceptible to the anthropomorphizing, think again. Robots such as the Talon 3B, they find and defuse landmines in war zones. Well, check this out. Often, this results in the robot blowing itself up, losing limbs and other parts. Well, that's his job. You know, this is the purpose of such robots. I mean, better a machine to lose an arm or a life than a human. The machine is not real. It has no life. It has no soul, okay? But the officers and the cadets working with these robots, they didn't necessarily feel this way. Now, these are big, strong army men, army people, military people that are getting sensitive over a robot getting blown up in the field, okay? Now, an army colonel, actually, they didn't say his name. He probably wants to remain anonymous, but an army colonel actually put an end to this military exercise, okay, in which a persistent Talon robot lost all but one leg. The colonel said that this was inhumane, okay? And did you know that soldiers have actually awarded robots with Purple Hearts and oftentimes refuse to leave their robot behind, okay? Military personnel actually develop very close bonds with these machines when they depend on one another for survival, okay? It's just like your partner, if you're a cop, your partner, you know, the military guys that you're going to war with, they look at the robot the same way because the robot actually helps them and keeps them alive. So they develop emotional feelings. You know, there was an episode of Twilight Zone with, I think it was with Jack Warren, where he committed some type of a crime or whatnot, and they sent him out to some way far away planet, but they didn't want him to go completely insane, so they gave him that female robot. to keep him company, and she actually cried real tears. Well, once his term was either up or overturned and they went to get him, they only had room for him. But he threw a freaking fit. He was not leaving that robot behind. And finally, the man just took out his gun and shot her to bits and smashed her to the ground and said, look, she's not real. We can't bring her. She's not real. She has no feeling. This is crazy. So when it comes to our emotional responses to robots, something in the human brain overrides reason. It doesn't matter that the robot can't feel or think. Okay? Now, a group of German researchers conducted a study in which they showed subjects 2 sets of videos. Okay? One of an anonymous person interacting affectionately with a Pleo, and another of that person interacting violently with it. Okay, the 40 subjects had an observable negative response to the negative videos. Now, this was measured primarily by increased perspiration, but the researchers repeated the experiment with 3 sets of videos, one of the human-Pleo interaction, another of positive and negative interaction between 2 humans, and the last was of a human interacting with a cardboard box. Man, you know, what is happening to us? Seriously. I mean, I don't know. This is crazy. And I just got to ask, if I haven't already, would you have sex with the robot? Are you getting that sucked into the virtual reality world? Are you actually ready to give up on relationships or men or women? I'm not. I mean, there is somebody out there that's going to make you feel the way you want to feel. There is somebody for everybody. Unfortunately, it takes some of us longer. Some of us are in our late 40s and 50s and haven't found the love of our lives yet. But that doesn't mean that it's not out there. Man, I just, like the movie Surrogates, I can't imagine waking up next to a robot. Okay? I mean, it's fun to think about, maybe, sort of, I don't know. But, you know, just to kind of mess around a little bit, like, yeah, this is my girl, this is my guy, or whatever. But when it comes down to the rest of your life, do you really want to spend it cuddled up to a robot? I don't care how much muscles and popping and everything he's got or she's got. It's just crazy. So anyway, the researchers repeated the experiment, and this time they measured the 14 subjects' response with an fMRI scanner. And the results revealed the subjects' positive feelings upon watching the human's friendly interaction with the Pleo, while the subjects responded most negatively to the video of human-on-human violence. They also responded negatively to the Pleo-directed violence, which in a way is kind of good, because what I'm seeing here is, 40 subjects just flat out don't like violence, whether it's towards something real or towards something fake. We don't like violence, But most interestingly enough, their frontal lobe and limbic systems responded similarly when they watched the negative treatment of Pleo and human. In other words, humans respond with more empathy to other humans, which is good, hello, but they also respond with observable empathy toward robots. Now, human empathy towards robots is perhaps the most compelling argument for robot rights or protection. You hear that? Robot rights and protections. Okay, what else do I want to tell you now? What is it? Westworld, when Thandie Newton's character, she decided to go out into the real world. I think she came back, because she thought she had a kid or something. But, but another recent study conducted by Japan researchers confirms these findings by measuring humans' responses to photos of intact human and robot hands and photos in which their hands are being cut with scissors or a knife. And researchers have measured your EEG scan response, which indicated that the subjects experience similar visceral response to images of humans and robot hands in painful situations. I don't know, but we got studies here that are showing, people are falling in love with their robots, their love dolls, their video games. There was something on the news, not too long ago, where I think some guy came home and his little brother or something had, killed one of his characters in his video game. And he was like attached to the woman in the video game that was like his partner in the video game. And he actually killed him. So he's in jail right now for murdering his brother over a fembot, basically, in a video game. But last but not least, I will say Munich conducted a study demonstrating that when robots mirror human emotions by smiling back at them or matching their level of enthusiasm, humans are more disposed to help them complete a task. Sometimes I have to call AT&T to pay my bill, and I'll call the automated service. And one thing that makes me so freaking mad, and y'all know where I'm going with this, is when you have to talk to the damn robot. And what does it say? Hi, may I help you? I can answer in complete sentences. Just ask me what you want to know. Man, come on. I'll take a human any day. Human emotion is a tricky beast. All right? Some see it as a weakness, given that emotions can cause humans to act impulsively and irrationally. Others see it as a strength, as emotions such as fear have long played a crucial role in human survival. The ability to feel emotion is currently a crucial difference between humans and robots. Yet, that gap is shifting, if not closing. Now the robots have become objects of our affection. It's just like in the movie, not The Running Man, Blade Runner, where the robots had to answer certain questions. And if they weren't able to answer certain questions effectively, then they killed you. They got rid of you. But it's pretty crazy. I mean, things have gotten so bad where you rather spend your time with the robot. All I have to say about that is just because you've had crappy friends, not all friends are crappy, but a lot of them are. Just because you've had crappy friends and crappy relationships, if you want to isolate yourself for a while and take a break and just kick humans to the curb for a couple of months, that's probably a good idea. You probably need to take a break. Take some time for you, regroup, reevaluate your attitude, things like that. But don't give up on the human race, people. Come on. I mean, we're giving robots and talking dolls rights. Okay? Pretty soon, some knucklehead is going to take some law before Congress and demand that robots have rights and feelings too. It sounds funny, and it's kind of funny, but kind of scary. We're going to start giving things that have absolutely no feeling, no soul, no emotion, the right to vote and the right to live. You know, lots of times when you get on the computer and you want to change your password to something or whatnot, it has this little test, and it'll ask you to prove that you're not a robot. Now, I don't want to sound more comfortable, but, you know, at least when you have people of the opposite sex that have changed their sex to something else, like a man is now a woman is now a man, at least they're still human. At least you still have that human interaction. And if that person is comfortable enough with you, they will flat out tell you, look, I'm transgendered, you know, or I'm a lesbian or I'm gay or something like that. But a robot, man, I don't know. But anyway, that is our show for today. Go out and get yourself some love. But I would advise you not to get robot love, because let me tell you, while you're in bed with that thing, it might get stuck. It might get to yanking off certain parts of your body that you need to function. My God. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I am so very grateful for everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I am grateful for you too. So go out into the world, be kind, take your emotional butter bath, and let that negative crap roll right off of you. My book is still available everywhere books are sold. And my second book, called A Gift from God, will be out next year, hopefully January. Because in January, your girl here is going to be 50, the big 50. I love y'all. Take care. Have a blessed day.